Michelle Obama often thinks about growing up in Chicago, where she felt she didn't belong and worried people would judge her for her clothes. As First Lady, she saw many students with the same feelings, if not fitting in. This is why public middle and high schools should require school uniforms as a policy to promote discipline and equality. Today, we go over how students are bullied or distracted because of how they look or dress. Without uniforms, students compete over fashion and brands, causing divisions. Uniforms make schools fairer, reduce pressure, and improve focus. She shares her conviction that there's a simple, practical policy that can make American schools more welcoming, more equal, and more focused on what matters. Michelle Obama grew up in the south side of Chicago in a working first class family that didn't have much money, but plenty of love and ambition. She went to public schools eager to learn and determined to do well. Even as a child, she noticed the divide between kids who wore the right clothes and who didn't. In these classrooms, she saw how kids quickly judged their appearance, but watched as others teased for old clothing and wondered if she belonged. Years later, First Lady visited the schools nationwide and saw the same pattern. Students anxious to fit in, teachers distracted by shallow conflict. Michelle Obama saw these divisions hurt kids by taking away their focus, confidence, and feeling safety. She knew real learning happened when students felt accepted, not judged by their clothing. Determined to be part of the solution, she championed incentives like Let Girls Learn, advocating for children's rights to define equal education, and she began to speak out about some policies that could reduce the inequality, including school uniforms. Dr. David Brunsma in the 2006 School Uniforms Movement and What Tells Us About American Education said, when schools implement uniforms, they remove visual divide rooted in class and style. By supporting uniform policies, she believed that this could free children defining them ideas that character rather than content of their closet. Today, Michelle Obama keeps the support children growth, education, and dignity. She believes school uniforms are one way to create a child where every child feels valued and ready to succeed. Michelle Obama once said, "You can make decisions based on fear and possibilities of what might happen. You base decisions on hope and dignity and possibility." And that hope of the schools built on fairness, focus, and belong drives her call to action. Michelle Obama believes that public middle and high schools in the United States should require school uniforms. Today, many children walk into the class and in a burden of judgment and distraction, worried whether their shoes are expensive enough, whether their jeans are trendy enough, or whether they'll be bullied or ignored by their friends because families can't afford certain brands. Amy Morton said in the 2024 Parent magazines, students judge each other by their clothing brands. This can harm their confidence. This is simply about hurting feelings. It's about lost learning. When kids are preoccupied with how they look, they're not focused on what they're there to do, learn, grow, and build their future. Study shows from 2013 the University of Nevada found while uniforms don't automatically raise test scores, they significantly reduce the peer pressure and confidence that some educators and families cannot afford to ignore. Michelle Obama believes that this problem persists because without uniforms, fashion becomes a daily competition, making students measure their worth by clothing. She met students who said the stress wasn't about schoolwork but trying to fit in. Dr. David L. Brunsma, in his 2006 the school uniforms movement and what it tells us about American education, said when school implements uniforms, they remove the visual divide rooted in any class style. This burden, she argues, no child should have to carry. Michelle Obama believes the solution is clear. U.S. public middle schools and high schools should require uniforms. Uniforms end brand competition, reduce visible income gaps, and students are valued for who they are. They boost safety, support students with anxiety or sensory issues that have and save families money. Dr. Johanna Reddy said in the 2021 Public Health Reviews, uniforms can improve school connectedness and reduce behavioral problems. Dr. David L. Brosma in the 2006 school uniform movement and what it tells us about American education said, some critics worry about uniforms suppress individuality. Michelle Obama agrees with Dr. Brunsma's response. He said, uniforms are not about suppressing individuality. It's about removing superficial barriers to engagement. She always believed that children can express who they are through their ideas, actions, and characters. With incentives like Let Girls Learn, we've almost helped every young person reach their potential. She viewed schools uniforms from small, meaningful ways to support the mission. Michelle Obama asked Americans to picture a school where every student walked through the doors knowing they belong. A school where focus on learning is and not labels. She believes the time is to change now. Michelle Obama said in her 2011 Young African Women Leaders Forum, you may not always have a comfortable life. You will not always be able to solve all the world's problems at once. But don't ever underestimate the importance of having of what you have. She urges communities to make decisions not based on their fear but on hope and possibility. To build learning environments worthy of every children's dreams. This is why public middle schools and high schools should require uniforms as a policy to promote discipline and equality. Today we went over how students are bullied and distracted because of how they look or dress. Without uniforms, students reduce the pressure to improve focus. Students compete over fashion brands. That's why Michelle Obama believes public middle and high schools across America should require uniforms. Thank you.